Hey guys. Sorry, Itaewon Semi, part 4. Part 4 of Love in a Foreign Land. The story of Kay. Where did we leave off? 2018 spring. Jay and Kay are married. About 8 to 10 months now. They've been together off and on, like over 3 years now. But they've been married 8 months. He's madly in love. Over the moon happy. Enjoying his life. They're traveling. And she is working aerobics in a mining town. I'm going to say about 10 months now she's been doing that off and on. And she's built up this cash. Like, what is she going to do with it? And so what happens? What do you think happens next? Does he find out? Let's take a pause for a moment and think about it. So it's a small town. And she's been doing this for a while. And what happens is the competition calls immigration. Not the police. They call immigration. And there's a knock on the door. They open the door. She opens the door. And in walks a customer. Sits down. They start talking. Transaction is offered, and he stands up, walks to the door, opens the door, and in walk the police and ICE. And she just loses it, from what he has told me, what the police have told him. He loses it. She loses it. And starts screaming and yelling and crying and everything. And so this is in the evening, obviously. Kay is at work. He doesn't know what's going on, and they take her down to the police station. They arrest the other American girl. And they take them down to the police station. They separate them, obviously. The American girl is charged. She's a citizen. And she's charged by the police and bails out. Kay, on the other hand, is on a spousal visa. She's not a citizen. She's not even a permanent resident. So they hold her. And early on in the morning, she's crying, saying, "Don't call my husband, don't call my husband." And they're saying, where's the money? We know how long you've been working. And, they check the cell phone records and everything like that. And she's saying, no, that girl took all the money. I didn't make any money. And they're like, okay, all right. She doesn't have a bank account or anything like that. So the police go to find Jay. And it's, sorry, let me just get a little comfortable here. It's early morning. And he's at work. And the foreman calls him out. Says the police are here. Now, word has spread around the town that this place has been busted. But nobody has put 2 and 2 together yet. And he doesn't know yet. But the police say, we've arrested your wife. We need you to come down to the police station. What's this about? And we'll tell you when we get there. And, long story short, he finds out what's going on and he is destroyed. He's not crying. He's not angry. He is just numb. When he finds out how long this has been going on, he's lost. He's like dumbstruck. His mind is processing what's been happening, but he can't believe what has happened. He doesn't want to believe it. In the beginning, there's denial. It's the 12 steps, right? In the beginning, he's in denial. No, this can't be it. She's a loving girl. I've taken care of her, you know. Yes, she used to do, he never admitted this. He never admitted it, so, but, you know, he was in denial, and then he got a little angry, and, you know, whatever. Anyway, the police asked, can we search the house? He's like, absolutely. Because they know he wasn't involved. They knew right away. They weren't blaming him. He was under no suspicion. They just wanted to find the money. And he's like, I have no idea. So they searched the house. And they did a thorough search. You know, they looked from top to bottom. And, you know, the next day he calls his friend. And his friend was like, yeah, my wife was like kind of suspicious, but I didn't want to say anything to you because I didn't have proof. But there was something strange going on. But it makes sense now as to what was going on. But I couldn't put my finger on it. And I didn't want to tell you that I thought your wife was doing this. I didn't want to, you know, make an accusation without, you know. So he you know, he goes back to work the next day, and, you know, his boss knows what's happened. His workmates know what's happened. But, you know, they don't mess with him about it. You know, they feel bad for him because he's such a nice guy. So over the next couple of days, he talks to his lawyer, and they tell him, you know, you're under no suspicion. So you have nothing to do with this unless you want to hire a lawyer for her. But she's being deported immediately. You know, there is no trial. She was caught. She's immediately her visa's being revoked, and she's being deported. Or if she wants to fight, she can hire a lawyer and fight to stay, but she'll be incarcerated until the trial because she won't get bail because she's a flight risk. And he says, well, I'm not going to pay for a lawyer. And she doesn't have any money to pay for a lawyer. So he ends up talking to her, you know, the second day, and she's crying and saying, I didn't do this, and, you know, the whole sob story and everything. And because he knows her past, he doesn't say anything in front of, like, because the police aren't watching or in the room, but they're probably watching or listening. I don't know, but he doesn't say anything to her. He says, I know. I saw the evidence. I know. And he says, I don't know what to do. And he just gets up and he leaves. And she's yelling and screaming, crying, begging him to help her. But basically what happened was she has no money to hire a lawyer. She can't afford a lawyer, and no lawyer will be given to you in that case. In immigration, you're not entitled to a free lawyer. So they charge her with an immigration violation, which doesn't afford you a lawyer unless you can afford to pay your own. And if she wanted to fight the criminal charges, she would have to hire a lawyer, and she doesn't have the money, and Jay is not going to provide the money for it. So he told her, I'm not going to give you any money for this. And she's like crying and screaming and screaming. And he doesn't contact her again. And next thing he finds out, 3 days later, she was deported back to Korea. So she's back in Korea, and 4 days later, he gets a phone call. And she's crying and begging him, and, you know, and he says, let me think about this, what's going to happen, what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to come back to Korea or what we're going to do next. And, you know, he hangs up the phone, and she's calling every day, texting every day, emailing, whatever, and he's just ignoring, you know, for about a week. And he calls her up, and he says, so in the meantime, he's talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer says, you can either have a divorce now, go through the courts and, you know, file for a divorce because of what happened, or you can just wait 2 years and claim abandonment. And he's like, I'll just go through the courts right now and do this. He's decided it's over. He hasn't told her, but he's decided. So it's now summer of 2018. And summer of 2018, yeah. So he finally picks up the phone and talks to her. And she says to him, what do you want to do? And he says, well, I've decided that, you know, you lied to me. You did this, the worst thing you can do, after you promised me that, you know, you would give up that life. And I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going to file for divorce. And she's like, okay, you know, I understand. And he's like, do you want to sign the paperwork? We'll get a lawyer in South Korea to sign the paperwork. And she's like, yeah, I'll do that, but I need you to do me a favor. Now, what do you think that favor is? Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think is going to happen next. Part 5. Part 5 of Love in a Foreign Land. Itaewon Sammy, I'm out.